card. In fact, Jess mentioned to me that somebody had been paying shekels, I don't know how many there were, to get the Time magazine, but had they used a card like this, it wouldn't have cost them anything. But there are other things as well. So here she is to answer your questions and probably show us a few things too. Thank you.
Well, kia ora. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Jess, and as Dennis said, I work at Wellington City Libraries and I do outreach and education. So coming and talking to groups like yourself is my job, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do it. So, Dennis approached me a few weeks ago, a month or so ago, and said that he'd like me to come and speak to you all about some of the services that are available. And he explained a little bit about your group and that you're all Mac users. So, most of you, yeah. So, a lot of our library services I'll show that are available on our website as well. But what I wanted to show was a bit of some of the apps that we have available that you can download. And they're all free apps, and they allow you to access our e-library and some of our online services that are available through our collection. So all you need is your library card, as Dennis showed. Does everybody have a library card? Can you raise your hand if you have a library card? Yes. Great. Well, you're all living here in Wellington, or if you're living out in the Hut or Upper Hut, Kapiti, your libraries have really excellent resources as well. So I'm sure they'll have really similar things to what I'm talking to you about today. So, you can just go back to your own library, your home libraries, and say, hey, do you have some of these things? I spoke to Wellington City Libraries, and they can tell you a little bit. So I wanted to start with Libby. People, I might just get a couple of quick raises of hands. Who reads or listens to audiobooks? You've got Libby? Awesome. Yeah, I know you do. And is there anybody who's interested in newspapers and magazines? Yeah. Zinio. You're like star in the front row there, like making me feel really comfortable. Well, what I wanted to start with is Libby. So Libby is an app that allows you to access our online collections of books and audiobooks, and some comic books as well. So I've just got an iPad in front of me, and it looks identical on an iPhone as well. So if you have both of those devices, you can have the same account connected, and it will automatically connect between. So you could listen to half a book on your iPhone and then listen to the other half when you get home on your tablet, whatever you feel like using. So this is the general layout of Libby. And so you just download the app, and all you need to access is the collection. And I've got some handouts that you can take home with you when I'm finished that just walk you through the easy steps of getting downloading the app, getting your account connected, and then you'll be away and using it. So this is the browsing function of Libby. So you can see here at the top we have some new ebook editions that are at the top, and there's over 32,000, I don't think if you can read that, it's a bit blurry, but 32,600 titles there. And then there's new categories of what's new. You can search by top subjects, and you've got your fiction, literature, fantasy, non-fiction, all those sorts of things. And you can explore a whole range of different subjects when it loads. And you can see that, under health and fitness there's 845 titles, 1,046 titles on. So my biggest thing is that people just don't know that this exists. And on a cold day like today, it's great to be able to access it from home.
Small technical thing. Can you try and rotate the iPad sideways as the app works sideways?
Oh, that's better, isn't it? That's much better. And then I will be able to... Yep. Yes. Very nice.
I think if you put your cover the other way, it might around.
You're right. Aha. It's nice to be having such good support, isn't it? Yeah. So, you can just browse through. And what I really like about this app is that you can browse by titles. It's almost blasphemy as a librarian to be saying judge a book by its cover, but I dare you to say that you don't. We all do. And so... and we put together collections from this, and so these are curated by your librarians. So we've put together a collection of books of winter warmers that are recipes for winter, which is really great. So you don't have to go into the library and come away with 10 different recipe books. You can have access to them at home. So say, for example, you wanted to look at the art of pie, or you wanted to browse through and look through all of these different ones, and you thought, hang on a second, I'm quite like the look of pies and puds. Puds, maybe. So you can see you've got all of this information available here for you to browse and have a bit of a read, and there's some really cool features that I wanted to point out here. So you can have a bit of a read and see what it is, and you can have a look at a sample, which you can see just here, and you can tag books, which is my personal favorite thing to do. So I build a list, and so if you tap on tag, you can put a thumbs up or a down, and you can add your own. So for me, I don't really like those symbols of the thumbs up in the book and everything, so I made a want to read, or you can make a cookbook pile, and you can add them to your own list, which you can then access down in your shelf. So I'll show you where that is in a bit. But this book's available, and I'd like to borrow it. So when I set up the app the first time, on this device, I did it about 20 minutes ago at home, and it took me about 15 minutes to download all of the apps for this, because this isn't my device, I have an Android, but it took me about 15 minutes to download our main apps, log in with my accounts, and I was away using them. So half of the battle is getting logged in and using it, but once you're in, and you have all of your history saved as well. So I just tap borrow, and it doesn't take very much space. So ebook files and e-audiobook files are quite small. So, but one of the other good things about Libby is it doesn't automatically say, why don't we open the book while we're waiting? It won't download the book on your data. It'll only wait until you're connected to your Wi-Fi at home, or when you're connected to a server, so you're not using what's on your phone if you are doing it remotely. So you don't have to worry about downloading lots of books and it chewing up all of your space and things like that. So now the book is downloading. The page is slow. Pause, tap for review. This might be because I'm using the hotspot off of my phone to do it, but you can see that the book will just download, and it should open up pretty soon. But it's a very easy to use app, and I just wanted to point out that if you have any trouble getting set up, I'm going to give you some things today. You can come into the library and see somebody, and we're happy to help you, walk you through that first step. Yep.
What do you mean about download? You just said it doesn't download.
Yes, so it won't download. Like, you can say borrow, and it will delay that. If you're out on a bus or something, it will delay that until you get home and you're connected. So that's only if you're using the data. Yeah.
Basically, it doesn't use cellular data.
Cellular data, that's right.
Over Wi-Fi. I imagine there's a way to override that.
There is a way to override that, but it's a good default to have, because you can accidentally go download and chew up all of your cellular data, so it avoids doing that. So that book will now appear in my shelf here, and you can see it's partway through downloading, and you can see there's a holds up in the left hand corner there, so you've got your loans and your holds and your tags, which are the ones where you make your lists of what you want to save, and you can see your previous activity of what you've been after, and that's all there in your shelf. But I think one of the best things about this app is just being able to browse and being able to look through these different collections that are put together for you. And, read along ebooks for children are very, very helpful. These specific titles will read aloud to you, so you might not be interested in those, but somebody else might be. Very short introductions are a new collection of the Oxford short reads, so they're really fun as well. And then we have this collection here, which is a personal favourite of mine because it is too hot to hold. These are titles that go out so much, we felt sorry for everybody who couldn't get a title, so we just made them unlimited. We paid... No, we paid... obviously, we couldn't have everything, but, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child had hundreds and hundreds of reserves. So it works the same way as your physical library, as in you borrow the book and it you have it for a 3-week period. And if you'd like to renew it, you can renew it just the same way. So if we go back to our shelf and click on this book, you can see here you can open the book when it's finished downloading. You can return it to the library if you're like, no, didn't like that one, I don't want it. And you can renew it. So it says they're due in 21 days. So does anybody have trouble with library fines ever? No?
I used to hear that like, years ago I got a new book and it had to be put me off because you had 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A bit rushed, you know, but that's good. You've got 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
It's much better.
Yeah, so you have 3 weeks and then you can renew it again. Yeah. And one of the best things is I'm terribly forgetful and I forget to renew my books sometimes or return them. And I know that I'm not the only person in the world who's had that trouble. But there are no overdue charges with Libby because they automatically return themselves, which I think is wonderful. And so when I meet young people who are, everybody who forgets to return their books, I'm like, well, there is an option. You can use a whole collection of tens of thousands of books that are available, and when you forget about them, they will return themselves, which is pretty nifty. Another great thing, so look, the downloading is happening as we speak, so we'll open the book in a minute, but it also, you can see it's linked to my account, the publishing information, so you've got all of these details about the device. And you can go, I actually really liked that, I want to tag that to read again if you're a repeat reader like I am. I love rereading books. So yeah, there's all of these wonderful features that are very easy to use. Now that the book's open, let's have a look, shall we? And see what it's like. So I was very resistant to ebooks at first. I live overseas and maybe it's not as... Yay, there we go. So I was very resistant to ebooks, and then I had to get into them just for the sheer logistics of traveling. I lived in Canada and I came back home with a suitcase full of 42 books, and it was very expensive and very heavy, and I had no clothing. So it was something that I had to deal with. But once I adjusted to it, I realized that it was actually pretty good. It's not the same thing. You're never going to not have a physical book, but sometimes when you go overseas, for example, it's great to be able to take an ebook with you, and you can put little, see I put a little bookmark in the corner there, and you can just scroll along. It's very easy to use. You can see all of the information along the bottom, what page you're on, and all of those things. And like I said before, you can connect between devices, which is pretty handy as well. So yeah, I'd encourage you to have a go exploring around with Libby and have a laugh maybe. We've got, all of these wonderful collections, and there is just a huge... I spent the first year of my tenure at Wellington City Libraries just exploring, and I kept going through the fiction selection. I got to page 52, and so I'm going to point this out to you because it took me a while to realize that you could actually go back to page 52. So you might be interested in mysteries, and there's 4,660 mystery titles in there. Take you some time to get through. And so you can go through, and I love to browse from my couch. And so you go through, and you scroll through, and you keep scrolling through. And then you get to the bottom. And so when you click on another page, I've just tapped on page 1, and you see there I have the ability to skip forward to page 49. It took me a long time to figure that out, so I wanted to point it out to you guys as well. If you were like me and you're getting to page 52 and you're like, how do I start at page 52? Now you know, if you like to have a browse. So yeah, it's pretty great. Another good thing that I think makes Libby pretty fun is the ebook option. Now, the audiobook option. So I don't actually listen to audiobooks, but I think that that's the way that libraries work, is not everybody does one thing. And I've spoken to a few people who just love audiobooks. They love hearing this. The only one that ever won me over was the Harry Potter by Stephen Fry, because he's just got such a wonderful voice, and he just grabbed me right in from the beginning. But a lot of people love audiobooks, and you see these titles here. They've got a little headphone in the bottom there. Can you see the headphones at the bottom? So that tells you that one's an audiobook. So it's the same process. Just say you wanted to read the Pendowicks at last. This is a good example because I can point out the place hold. So in the way that I was telling you that it works like a physical library, we buy a subscription to these titles, and Libby is a service provider that has made agreements with different publishing houses. So just like a physical library, we don't have absolutely everything, and I'm going to show you how to search in a minute, but we have quite a lot. Thousands and tens of thousands of books. So you might not be able to find absolutely everything you're looking for, but you can certainly use some time in there. I know, I've lost many, many hours of my life to Libby and browsing, but you have the option to place a hold. So just like in the physical library, in the Wellington Central Library, you pay $2 for a reserve, and then we bring it in from whichever library and you come and pick it up and it costs $2. So there's no charges here. So you can reserve lots and lots of books and you don't have to pay for it. There is a limit, and I'm not sure what it is, probably because I've never reached it. I think most people are very responsible borrowers where they don't place reserves on 50 books at once, because how much can we read in one go? Plus you feel like somebody else should have a go at it. So it's the same thing. You read the book and you return it. And so with that collection I showed you before of Too Hot to Hold, there were so many reserves on those that we were able to, thanks to the publishers' agreements, make them unlimited copies, so we pay more so that people can access it. So I say we pay more, but it's really you guys paying more, because this is a service that you're paying for with your rates, and the library is all free. So this is something that is available to you. We will keep browsing because we've got our reserve. So now when I go to my shelf and I look at my holds, there it is. And I can see that I placed it today, and I wonder what the wait list is like. Ooh, approximately 2 weeks. I'm first in line. There's one copy in use, and there's one person waiting, which I'm assuming is me. But yeah, it's pretty fun. So those people who like to listen to audiobooks on their phone when they're on the bus or in the garden, one of my librarian friends just swears by audiobooks, and she gardens like crazy, and she just listens all the time when she's in the garden. So that works for her. And people does anybody listen to podcasts at all? Yeah? So a lot of people listen to podcasts, and an audiobook is very similar. You can listen to a chapter here and a chapter there. You can listen to the whole book, and it's reading. For those people who say it's not reading, it's definitely reading. You're listening to the tale. So yeah. So I encourage you to have a browse through Libby, have a play around and see what you'd find interesting there. But you can get very lost amongst the depths of it, and you'll all find your different areas that you want to look. So that's just one service that I wanted to show to you today. That's one of our apps. So yeah, if you have any, and I'll show you the search button. Search is at the top. See the magnifying glass, that symbol goes across anywhere. So does anybody have a book off the top of their head that they'd like to see if it's there?
Stay this to your rack, just pull one that I wanted to find.
Here we go.
Back from my shelf. Oh,
Well, it might not be there. Is that it?
goodness.
Is that the
That was
book?
something I read when I was 10.
It looks awesome. I want to read that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you can see it can lead, and this is what I mean by it can be a hole that you fall into, but you can go, oh, it's in the fiction pile, and you can also see what else Harry Harrison has. 3 other books. Yeah. So we don't have everything, but we have a lot. So yeah, have a go at it, and I'm going to leave you with something today. Another fun tip I'll just point out is up here in the preferences. So you can choose to see the availability. You want to see, if you want to search, you're like, I want something now. You can change your availability to the things that are available. And this will filter all of the tens of thousands of titles and just show you the ones that are available right now. So I think that's a fun feature, because sometimes, you don't go into the library and be like, today I'm just making a list of books that I'd like to read. There's nothing like, imagine seeing a book on the shelf and being like, oh, I can't get it. Well, you have the power to change that. So I am a patient reader, so I like to keep it on everything. And if it's not there, I kind of like the surprise. So that's what works for me. So that's on that little plus there of preferences.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I noticed the compatibility Libby setting in there.
Yes.
Presumably that means there are some books which are not compatible with Libby, potentially.
So does anybody have an e-reader? Kindle or Kobo or anything? Kindle? Is it a Kindle? So it says Kindle on there, and it gives me a good excuse to bring it up. It's only compatible with Kindle in the US at the moment, so you won't be able to use your Kindle. But if you do have a Kobo device, you can actually log into your computer using the web-based platform of Overdrive, and this is a good excuse to bring that up, isn't it, with Safari. And you can download the device and send it to your Kindle. Well, not your Kindle, your Kobo. If you're in the States, you could use a Kindle. But yeah, if you've got an iPad, I'd encourage you to just use the iPad because, yeah, it's just easier. It downloads and opens all in one device. So what I've done is just Googled Wellington City Libraries. Well, I didn't Google it because I know it off by heart. But I've just gone to the Wellington City Libraries homepage. And so here under eLibrary, when I click on here, you'll see Overdrive and Libby. Now, they are the same service. Libby is just the app, the new app that's available from Overdrive. So Overdrive is the company. And if you click on here, it will take you to the exact same collection. It's just being displayed in a different way. So if you have an e-reader, you could see it's the same titles. You can see them and you can download them and plug in your device and send them that way. So we have, I will just show you, in getting started here, we have some tips that will help you doing that for the first time if you'd like to. So that's Libby for ebooks and audiobooks, but we have another audiobook supplier which is called BorrowBox. Ideally in the future we end up in a situation where libraries can have an app and all of their collections are in that one app. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, and I think that we're quite a long ways off because of how libraries operate with using different suppliers. So we're really fortunate to have something like Libby that allows us to put a very, very large bulk of titles and material available. And there's a whole children's room as well. But BorrowBox does a lot of audiobooks. So they have agreements with certain publishing houses. So if you download both of them and you log in with just your library card number and your last name, you can access a lot of audiobooks. So this one's particularly good if you're interested in that. We've actually, got a lot in here that is really great, and it's the same thing. You can have it on your phone, you can have it on your iPad, you can just download, so Bill Bryson Down Under, you can see that it's on loan at the moment, and you can place a reserve, but you've got all of the content information there, and then you can just download it straight to your phone as well. So this is another handy app, and all of how to connect to all of the apps that I'm talking about today, I'm going to give you a little handout so you can take that home, and it'll talk. Well, you don't need it because you've got them, half of them set up, but you can help everybody else. Have you got BorrowBox as well? No. Did you know about BorrowBox? No. We tend to find just one thing, and then we really like that. It's the same with restaurants and just getting to one place. You find your way, and then you stick with it. But there's actually a whole lot of different resources out there that people don't know about. So, yeah. Hi.
It's the same for a laptop.
Yeah. So on the laptop.
I went to this several years ago.
Yeah.
I took my laptop because I didn't have an iPad or tablet. Lots of other people took iPads.
Yeah.
And I think I learned how to move things from one to the other, but I did move Stephen Hawking to a tiny little MP3 player to do my gardening.
Wow. Oh, so you remember.
Got through it all. He duly evaporated in 3 weeks from everything else.
Pretty magical, isn't it?
MP3 player.
Wow.
I presume it's too primitive, so I'm feeling guilty.
No.
What I did with him.
No. the systems are designed by smarter people than us, and if it doesn't evaporate, then that's wonderful, isn't it? You got a copy of it. I think with anything technologically based, there's always a way around those things, and but yeah, that's great. But just answering that question a little bit more, when you're talking about all of these resources can be accessed from a laptop. So what you would do is just open up a web browser like Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, or Mozilla Firefox. I'm using an Apple here, so Safari. And you just go to the Wellington City Library's homepage, and along the top is the e-library. So you can access all of these things from a laptop as well. And I'm just showing it in the same way. So there's BorrowBox right there. And so they're our main books and audiobooks. But I wanted to talk a little bit about magazines and newspapers because they're pretty fun too. And that's where the sort of money... Is anybody paying for a subscription to a magazine? What ones are they?
The Dominion.
The Dominion Post, right. So I bet there's a few people in here paying for the Dominion Post. Pardon? The listener? Yep. So... you can cancel those subscriptions. There you go. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. But anyway, you're paying for them already. They're accessible through your library card. And I'm pretty sure that they're accessible from the other libraries as well, but I can't say 100% because I don't know exactly.
I think that I belong to the Hat Library. And
They've got press reader.
At that top, isn't it, sort of yours?
Yeah.
Yours goes down the side, and yours is very clear.
Oh, good. That's really nice feedback to
You
hear.
can't rush to Wellington, because you don't live there, you can't have your...
Or work there, because you can get a library card if you work in Wellington City.
Good knowledge. Great library knowledge.
We allowed me to go, we owned a property,
Yep.
through Wellington. The lady told me, said, oh no, you can have one here, and you can have one there.
Yeah.
It was like, you sure? I double-checked, and I thought, no, sure.
Between
Play
the-
so you can.
Between the hardcore book nerds of the world, we love collecting library cards. I certainly do. We all go, and the librarians are like that as well. So just come and speak to somebody at the library. I mean, if you're working in Wellington, then you're entitled to a library card. We also have a rental membership, which is paid for physical items but allows you to access for the time being all of our online services. So there's lots of different ways to access it. So, and some of the things that I might talk about here, you might not find interesting, but you might know somebody who does. So I wanted to show you this one here, which thinks I'm at the National Library. Fair enough. So this is Press Reader. And like I said before, I had just downloaded Press Reader and logged in on this device just before coming in here today. And it has a really great collection of newspapers and magazines, not just from New Zealand, even though the New Zealand content is amazing, but it has a lot of international content as well. So I talk to groups that are from overseas, or and there's hundreds of publications from different places around the world. So I'll show those to you in a minute. But there's the Dom Post right there. And they're up to date. They come out so regularly. And you can print off, do we have any crossword nuts in here? Yeah. Now, they're not alone there. I love a good crossword as well. So you can print those pages and you can do it. So if you're holding out for the crossword and the puzzles.
I don't see the paper anymore.
I know, I didn't grow up with newspapers, and I've always found this whole business ridiculous, personally. I know that it's very fun, but I just thought, why, who designed this? I have to fold it, and then I can never fold it. It's like a map. You can never fold it back. It's just so frustrating.
Reading your paper in the morning, you don't have to go outside. I'll wait till the weather clears.
Exactly. You don't have to have it wet or anything.
One complaint, without a paper, where is the cat going to sit to get in your way?
They love paper.
You're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think newspapers are doing just fine, so we shouldn't worry too much about,
So this is press reader.
So this is Press Reader, and Press Reader is the service that allows us to access the Dom Post. And so you can just browse through, and what is particularly cool here is you see all of the pages along the bottom. So if you read a particular section, you can be like, oh, I really like the puzzle section. That's my favorite. Yep. So you can go in there and access the puzzles, and then you can print up there. So if that's what you like to do, you can also do, and this was something I didn't point out with Libby as well, one of the beautiful things about e-libraries is you can increase the size. So I have reading glasses that I use at my desk and all of that, and I don't take them home because I forget. And but I get home and I have my ebooks, and I can increase the text size. Now, a lot of people who are very against ebooks and are very against these sorts of things, and that's fine, don't worry, books aren't going anywhere. They're going to be just fine. But being able to increase the size is so useful. And, you know, maybe your eyesight's not as bad as mine, but I do know, I recently just went out to speak to a group of social workers in the hospital a couple of weeks ago, doing much similar to what I'm doing here tonight, and was able to show them that, yeah, it's got some really great uses for increasing the size and making it. So that's the newspaper.
How to print a section, like just that puzzle only?
Yeah, well, we just did, you can print a page. It'll fit that section.
But there is a division somewhere where you could do a section.
Yeah, so print screen, print page.
No, it's just print, I think.
I think it's actually,
It's in print screen, so if you've enlarged it up to the size of your screen, it'll print that.
you can also click on sections and then it will bring it into a different format, which is pretty cool. So now I've just brought up this section and I've made the size bigger. And no, see, look, you can't print from there, but looks like you can get it to talk to you and translate it into other languages. Didn't used to be able to do that. That's pretty fun. Yeah, so it looks like you do have to just print a page.
Yeah, it may be different on the computer to it.
Yeah, it is definitely different on the computer.
Use the computer and I just
Yeah.
bring that out and it's, and only print
You can
that
just
section.
print that section, yeah. No, I know it is possible. Look at this, it even gives it the fold of the page as if you're holding it.
Blow it up into a screenshot.
Well, let's say print screen, so
Yeah.
whatever you can see on the screen.
I think if you do the printing, you'll likely be doing it from the computer. So just showing you how to access that. This is in our e-library as well. It's just there. So if you go through our homepage, through Wellington City Libraries, and we go to that e-library page that I was showing you, Press Reader's just there as well, amongst of all sorts of other goodies that you'll stumble across. Did you have a question?
Log on with your library card.
Library card number and your last name. It'll ask
Go
you.
to the City Library website first.
If you download the app, it will allow you to log in through the app and then it will stay logged in. It'll remember your library card. If you go in through here, it's a link to a portal and you log in with your library card number and your last name. So all you need to remember is your library card number and your last name. And yep.
And the same with Kathy.
I'm not sure about Capity. I'm sure it's probably the same. But
Lance, you might be a person here who's going to be a Cappy. We're planning on doing a similar meeting later in the year with
Yeah.
somebody from the Cappy Library. Just so
cool.
people
That's a
like
great
the
idea.
experience. Yep.
Yeah. I've had a bit of a look at what they offer. It's very similar services. I mean, we're all trying, libraries are all one, and so we're doing a very similar thing. But yeah, so I'll just go back to Press Reader and just show you quickly some magazines because I'm conscious of time. But you can browse through categories as well. Have a look at Home and Garden, see all of the titles that are in there. And it's pretty great. You can have a look and then you'll see it's got some of the latest issues there as well. So it's pretty cool and it just really depends. And so I wanted to show the the countries in particular, because I think this is actually amazing. You know, I talk to lots of people who are learning different languages and how difficult it must be to speak in another language 24/7. And, you know, some magazines and newspapers from overseas are just not accessible online. And most are, but they're not all there. So if you just have a look through in the countries, you know, I think we're just in magazines here, but we're in categories. Here we go. Now the numbers are, look, 102 publications from Argentina. You know, like it's really sizable, these collections, like 289 from China. They're really significant amounts. So it's pretty cool. But
Something like the New York Times, which is the page for view, I think,
yes.
that's online.
So in the same way that we have the 2 apps for ebooks and audiobooks, we have 2 apps for newspapers and magazines. So Press Reader has magazines and newspapers. So if we have a look here, and I'm going to click on the magazine section, these are all of, you know, we've got Vogue and Vanity Fair and GQ and Travel and all of these. So we can have a search, and that's the best way. So what I know for a fact, Time Magazine is in the other one, so I'm going to show you that in a minute. What's another one? Another magazine that I don't... Yeah, that's also in IB Digital, not off the top of my head. But,
You mean an international magazine?
yeah, just... So we have a huge number of magazine titles here.
Ford magazine.
Sorry? Ford, that's a good one. I don't know for sure. Let's see. Let's search. Ford. Oh, classic Ford, fast Ford. The Myrtle Ford Times. No, so Stratford? No, so we don't have Ford magazine on here, but let's have a look at the other app because I think it'll bring us straight into that, and I'm probably running out of time. But RB Digital, wonderful name that doesn't lead you to believe that it has anything to do with magazines, but it does. It closed itself, so I'm wondering if maybe I should put it on the phone. This one. Oh no, there we go. Wait. So this is RB Digital, and this one is just magazines. It's all magazines, but there's some really, really wonderful titles in here. The display and the user interface is the same way as Libby, so it's really quite easy to use, and there's some great titles in there. So were you playing with it for the listener? Was it you, sorry?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the listener, and here's 2 years worth of listeners.
Very handy if you've read something and forgotten the word.
Yeah, exactly. And if you remember it by the cover as well, which I do, you're like, I don't remember if it was the September or the August issue.
I don't think much of the Trump one though. I've ever seen.
No, I don't think anybody does, but... I'm sorry? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they come out, I can't say 100% that they come out on the time, you know. Right, but it's very, very soon. Yeah, look, 1st of June.
Yeah, that one arrived in my post office box on Saturday, so...
Yeah, so we're not even in June yet.
Arrived today.
Did it? Yeah. This one's actually travelled from the future to be here.
With this as well, with the new ones coming out,
Yep.
can you actually get notifications of the latest ones coming out?
Excellent question. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So let's check out this issue of The Listener. Oh, email me when the next issue is available. Yes, please. I'd like to know. So, and look, that one, it's like nothing. It's the size, it's downloaded already. So I'm not going to get emailed because, but yeah, I don't read them. Yeah, but magazines in particular are just very nice on a device like this. And, you know, and they often have that very filmy and difficult texture, and you can read it in such a nice way. And I find that particularly handy. So, archives? No. So RB Digital only provides you access to 2 years worth, but it does have, we do have some archives. So we actually have the Vogue archive that's available through Wellington City Libraries. That's one of our online databases. And we also have the National Geographic. So you'll see National Geographic down there and Time Magazine, the New Yorker, North and South. Yeah, there's just a huge number of really, really great collections here. And you can search for them. So Nadia is quite a new one, but let's just randomly go to page 3 and see what's on there. Gourmet, gardening. So hundreds. I think there's just over 200. The crochet one's incredibly popular. It's a lot of fun. And the knitting one as well. What was that?
Macworld is one.
Oh, where's that? Did
I haven't bothered reading for many years, so I didn't bother subscribing to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Just right at the bottom was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at that. The Lonely Planet magazine's pretty great as well. See, I'm always discovering new things. You know, there's the first time I went out and gave a library talk, I was like, but there's so much to talk about. I couldn't possibly cover everything, so you'll have to just cut me off or I'll just go forever. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a bit of a taste of some of the things that are available and just show you how easy it is to access these things. And, you know, you can see your account in just the same way. I mean, you don't have to worry about placing reserves with RB Digital because they're all there all the time. And if you like to access these things from home at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can. You don't have to wait. It's all there and it's free and you've already paid for it. So if you have any, I mean, we can all save some money. So if you have any people who have subscriptions, like Time Magazine subscriptions are costly. You know, I don't know if they are very costly. How much is the listener, if anybody knows? I don't actually know. Yeah.
Well, I tend to get mine with Flyby's points.
Well, you save those for going and visiting people in different ways. So.
And this is something that's about 30% off, and I'm saving up for something else.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember, but it's. I think you pay about 2/3 the cover price.
It's 2/3 of the cover price. Wow.
You're lucky.
Wow.
You get it right on.
Yeah, I mean, it's all there, and so if you guys are interested in having a look at that, so this is what the little apps look for, and I've put Libby and Overdrive next to each other. There is an app for Overdrive, and it does have some. I'll just go into it so you can see how I feel it's quite unfriendly.
I think especially in the older version, they released Libby as
It
a
was,
better
yeah.
replacement for it.
I actually just had a meeting with the representatives from Overdrive who were over from the States, and they were telling us about how there are some really great like accessibility functions in there as well that they haven't moved over yet, but yeah, it's just not incredibly user-friendly. But before I finish up, I didn't cover over something with Libby, and I just wanted to point that out, is how to... So we'll just tap into our book that we were halfway through reading there, and so you tap on the screen to make it just book form, and then you tap on it again. Sometimes it's temperamental to get all of these wonderful settings here, which is where the pages are, and you can put bookmarks. Now up here, these 3 lines in the right-hand corner is where you have some really fun things. So you can skip through chapters, you can search for specific content, and you can place bookmarks. And the reading settings is where you can do fun things like make it sepia color, which is like the color of a page, or make it dark so that it's nicer, yeah, for nighttime viewing. I really like this one. I always have it on this one. You can also change the fonts depending on what you like, and you can make them bigger and you can make them smaller in the same way, so that's really useful. Now, the Open Dyslexic is something that I'm particularly interested in. A lot of people either work with, know people who have dyslexia, and they often find it quite difficult to read or don't want to reach out. So they're quite limited in what kinds of texts are available, people who have dyslexia. And this is a font that is easier to read. So it's really great and actually opens up a lot more content and things available. I used to work a lot with children, like young readers, and it's just about enjoying turning the page and reading the book and just, finding that. Yeah,
Easy, I don't find it easy.
I don't find that we're not dyslexic,
It's sort
but
of bottom heavy, yes.
yes,
My partner's son is dyslexic.
yeah.
Slightly smudgy, but I thought it was
Yeah.
Nick Wright that was the main trouble.
Not necessarily swapping letters around and
Yeah.
completely mixing up words.
Because we're not going to know, because we're not.
But researchers have found that particular font types do make it easier for people with dyslexia to read, and so having the ability to change the fonts on all of these different titles to something that's a bit more, friendly is pretty cool. And so that's under the reading settings. And I don't like looking at it, but then again, I don't have dyslexia, so I can't speak from experience. But it is sort of, you might stumble across something and go, you know what, that might be really good for somebody I know here who, you might say, yeah. So these are just a couple of we've got a comics app there as well that is and if you're into comics and graphic novels, that's another one that you can have a look at. But I don't want to, show you too much because I do believe that half the fun is exploring.
Considering the group that you're talking to, just wanted to check whether everybody's familiar with lynda.com.
I was just
So that was going to-
I was just about to talk about lynda.com. No. You'll have to just tell me when to stop. So lynda.com, has anybody else heard of lynda.com? No. Yeah.
Somebody who's used it.
So a lot of really big organisations and companies pay a lot of money for subscriptions to lynda.com. It's such a great resource that we have people from overseas trying to remotely get library cards so that they can access it for free. And that's a real problem. Not a real problem, but it happens. So again, we're just going to log in with our library card numbers. If you're lucky like me, you'll have memorised yours. Library card number and your last name, and you log in. So there isn't an app for Lynda. Actually, one just popped up before. So yes, there is. There's an app for Lynda at the top there, but we won't download. I haven't got that one downloaded. So lynda.com is online courses in software. So this is learning, and there'll be a lot of Mac specific stuff on here. So if you have a program or something in your computer that you want to learn how to use better, there's some really great courses on here. You can become a 3D animator. You could do design specific courses. See, I was just business courses, IT, marketing, photography. We just had Mark G come talk at the library about a month or so ago, and that was when I discovered how many photography resources were on here. I couldn't believe it. You can do a course in underwater macro photography. If anybody's considering getting into that, you can. So I didn't realize that was so free, but there's courses on Instagram and Lightroom and iPhoto. So you can we'll just click on iPhoto because it's. So these are training and tutorials, and they're videos. So you can do iPhoto essential training. And let's just click on that and see if I can pull one up. So it's a video. And you can see on the left-hand side here, the first one's 1 minute and 2 seconds. And they're just little video clips of and it's a course, and you watch it piece by piece, and you go through, and it will and you can use it like a book on the left-hand side. So if you're like hiding and deleting photos, how do I do that? It's actually set out really well. So you can go, I just need to know how to do this one thing. I don't want to do a 5-day course on iPhoto, and I wanted to add captions. There's a 49-second video that covers that. So it's really great for that use. And that's just one sort of thing. If it's for web design, you can do HTML, really, really complicated stuff and really easy stuff as well. So, lynda.com is an amazing resource that people, just don't know that you can access for free, and all you need is your library card number and
I knew
your
that it
last name.
existed, I didn't know it was available for free. I avoided it because I didn't want to spend any money on it.
Well, with access to lynda.com comes the great guilt of, well, I could do a course in being a web developer if I was just less lazy. So,
Jess, every library gives you access to this, or just the Wellington? It seems to me as though you might have more resources than the Hutt Library, for example.
it's possible,
So it
yes.
seems you would think libraries are all drawing from the same resources.
So, in the same way that we have a collection development team that is spending an allocated budget of money on books, we have a budget of money that is allocated towards online services. So, we pay subscriptions from that budget that allows our borrowers to have access to these services. And so it depends. I can't say for sure what. I don't think that the Hutt and Capity have lynda.com. They might very well do. Yeah, lynda.com. Yeah, I mean, it'd be. But library websites are quite similar to each other. And once you know what to look for. So, we know here under our e-library, if you could go onto the Capity Coast and also go talk to your librarians. Go talk to your librarians. They're strangely very friendly, and they're actually there to help you. So if you have questions and you're wondering what stuff they have, I can bet you that they'll be climbing over the table with the desire to tell you all about it, because that's what their job's there for. I was inviting my flatmates along today. I'm like, you could basically give this talk because you've had to listen to me ramble about libraries so much to them, and they don't use any of it. But
Can I ask a simple question? I see
yeah.
you've got movies.
Movies? No.
This is books, movies and music.
Oh, that's
Oh.
That's the physical one.
Yeah, these are the physical ones. So this is our, we do have movies at the library. I actually went and bought a DVD player that's a bit old and just clinging on to its last legs, just so that I could have access to our DVD collection, which I really like old movies and foreign films and really obscure things that you can't get on Netflix. So the DVD collection in the library, if you miss going to the video store, they're still there. They're still there. You can still go browse. And so what we have here under books is our new materials. So we put together blogs of what's new and what's come out. And you can search through different topics and different searches as well. It's like a can of worms, and you can go through our popular topics here. And if you like biographies, for example, you can go on here, and we've put together this blog. I know for a fact just came out about less than 3 weeks ago because I posted about it online. But these are librarians putting this collection together from what's coming in. We're going through and looking at it. So it might be online, but there's still a person behind that who's a specialist in biographies and has specifically chosen these titles for highlighting purposes. So I do photography and art because I'm particularly interested in those topics, and we have lots of librarians who are really specialising in different areas. So it's just like you can get lost in Libby. You can have a lot of fun in our website, accessing ancestry.com for genealogy on its own, like heritage. I just clicked on our heritage page and all of the resources that you can access through there. Our recent books you can see we put on there. We update this quite regularly. Our history specialist is always doing it. We have special collections and community histories and heritage films and links to not just library services but free services that are available, that if you're interested in that topic, we want to link you to it so that you know, because that's our job, is to connect you with information. And if you look at it and go, that's a lot of text and I'm not going to read all of that, fair enough. Come and talk to one of us. We'll come and point you in the right direction because we know it all, like mostly like the back of our hands, or we have a colleague who's a specialist in that area. Yeah.
When you go into something that you would normally pay for,
Yeah.
well, I suppose like Ancestry.com, do you become somebody else rather than yourself?
No.
Because
So
you're going in through the library. For example, my cousin has our family tree.
Yep.
And she's taken a 2-year holiday, but apparently I can still access it.
yeah.
But
So
would I become unable to access it because I wouldn't be me if I was in the library?
So I'm pretty sure with Ancestry.com, there are, it's in library only. So Ancestry, I believe you can log in,
In the library.
but you've got to be in the library to use it. And I think there's only a couple of others like that, and that's the Give Me and Give Us services, which are...
And you'd be the library rather than yourself.
No, you should be logging into that account. Like if it's a paid account, definitely have a try. I know that Ancestry.com has had some technical issues over the last weeks, and but it should be fine. I don't believe that I think if you're using it in the library, you should be able to create your own account. We have a lawyer I see every single day, and she's in the library on Ancestry.com on one of our, and they're available in our free computers. So, I mean, you've all got your own devices, I think. We also have free Wi-Fi in all of the libraries, so you can come in and use your own device and access Ancestry.com as long as you're in the library connected to it. And again, if you have any issues, just come and, talk to somebody.
What would be the best sort of advice to read something like the Dominion Post on?
I would say press reader.
Physical advice.
A physical device. I'd say an iPad, just for the sheer comfort of what you're holding and the size of the screen. I wouldn't read a book on a phone, but then one day my device died and I did read a book on the phone, and I thought, actually, this isn't so bad. I was like,
So I
yeah.
read the Dominion on my computer.
Yeah.
First thing.
I'd like the display of a tablet personally. So, do you have an iPad or a? No. So another fun thing you might not know, I'm not sure if last week we were offering iPads. You can actually borrow an iPad from the library for $5 for 3 weeks. Last week we were giving them out for free. Like you could borrow it for free because it was Tech Week, and if you went in, you might be able to get away with it. I don't know. Didn't say that. You didn't hear it from me. You don't say you saw Jess and she said no. But $5 for 3 weeks is just really cool. It's so cheap. So if you're thinking about buying, why don't you try before you buy? You can go in and try. They're iPad minis as well, which I find, and this just goes to show how you can adjust to the land of the ebook and reading the post, but you don't have to get up to turn on the light. You can read it. It glows in front of you in the dark, and I can't believe I'm even saying this out loud, but I'm reading a physical book at the moment, and I'm right at the end, and it's late at night, and I'm holding them. It's heavy. It's heavy. It doesn't wedge into my sheets and my pillows the way that an iPad does. I can sit there and, just give it a go. But you can, Wellington City Libraries has, and you can get it from any of the branch libraries, so you don't have to just come to Central. I believe they've got them in the southwest clusters, so that's Kilburney and Newtown and Island Bay, and they've got them out at Johnsonville and Tawa. They also have them in Karori, so I think they have 5 or 6 of them, and it's a resource that a lot of people don't know about. So if you're thinking about having a go, if you've got, I have a laptop, 2 phones and a tablet.
You're keen.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
And I have,
You're a whole shop.
yeah, you're too far. But I also have like a television screen. I don't know if anybody's, I shouldn't be promoting Chrome, Google Chromecast, but it's just like magic. I sit here on my thing and I choose on Netflix what I want to watch, and it shows up on my television. So I think that's like magic, even though it's quite rationally technology.
Apple TV's got any of these apps.
I think it does, yeah. I think it's actually where they got the
But
design
from personal
from.
experience, trying to read things on a television from sitting back
No,
on the
no,
couch does not work very well.
No.
No.
You'd be better off looking at something close because
Yeah.
your eyes aren't focused on that.
Definitely. But you can try out a tablet and just see how you feel, because it's just easier to hold, easier to use. It's just like a giant phone, really. And yeah, for reading purposes late at night, because I'm a night owl and I read, that's what I find to be particularly useful. Fits in your handbag?
Yes,
Oh,
it's
so great. Right.
Unfortunately, the iPad Mini may be on the way out because Apple haven't released a new one for 2 years.
I know, wouldn't that be frustrating? You know, I had an iPod Classic, which was 250 gig worth of music, and when they discontinued those, there was, I don't know if you remember this, but there was just absolute outroar. Like, just very, very upset population. Have you got one? They don't make them anymore. Like, you actually can't get one. Our music specialist. How have you kept yours alive?
I've already had to pay to replace its hard drive.
Ah.
Because I bought that just before they got discontinued because it has my entire music collection on it, which means I can listen to music in the car before I got my iPhone, which had as much capacity on it as this does. So it's now sort of surplus to requirements, but I still prefer it.
Yeah, 250 gig worth of music is not something, and if you're, you know, a professional archiver like I am, it was very methodically organized, and having to rebuild it into streaming technology was cumbersome. But yeah, it took a long time. So I went to a talk, one of the PwC Herald talks about artificial intelligence in business, and one of the things that I realized is that it will constantly be developing and changing, and like the fact that you're all here tonight at 8:30 on a Monday on like the coldest night ever just shows how enthusiastic and willing to try new things that you all are. So that's really, really great. And yeah, I think I'm going to stop talking your ear off now, but thank you very much for having me here to speak today. And if you have any questions at all, please get in contact with me. You can come and ask me. I'm Jess at the Wellington Central Library, or you can talk to any one of the librarians there, and they're all going to be happy to help you. And your own libraries back at Cafferty or Hutt, I know they're just as friendly.
I checked on the websites. I did find something mentioned in lynda.com, the Hutt Library.
That's great.
I was buried away in the how to use e-resources and pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
I did not find one for Cafferty though.
So it'll be under online services or e-library resources. And yeah, if you ever can't, next time you're in your library, just say, hey, is it there? And they'll point you to where it is, and then you'll be able to find it again. So yeah. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. I'm sure you have the rest of your meeting to cover.
Would you like to stay for the brief supper, like snacks and a cup of tea and things like that?
Oh, thank you very much. I have a dinner waiting for me at home. I didn't realise that the dinner was available, but it was very kind of you to offer a snack of sorts. No, I haven't eaten yet, so I'm going to...
Did you want them handed around? Or
Oh, yeah, yes. Yes.
And that's your cover for the iPad.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, if you'd like to forward it to me, I'll give you my... Yeah. And I'll just leave you this as well. If you have questions or people who have issues or anything like that, just use me.
I've got Dennis gave my copy.